Editor Hudson here. I want to come out really quickly. I did not know that FunkyFrogBait went by they, them pronouns in this video, so I do use her and she sometimes. I'm going to try and leave it as best as I possibly can. So if there's weird cuts and there's weird bleeps, you know why. I did not realize she was they, them. I just said she, her, and I apologize for assuming that. Back to the video. What's good, y'all? Hi, Man here. World-renowned YouTuber FunkyFrogBait has made a video about me, and I'm going to respond to points because I didn't think it was very good. It was in her most recent video about BookTok, and I was in a segment in it near the very end. What's up, y'all? Editor Man here. It comes to my attention I did not actually bring up the situation itself that this discourse is happening about. For those who don't know, the issue with BookTok on TikTok, it's a community of people who read books, but a large portion of that community reads spicy books that have a lot of sexual content in them. And so people are calling them like BookTok gooners and stuff. And I have no problem with there being sexual or steamy content in the books. What I had a problem with was that a lot of those sexual or steamy books were in the dark romance category. And in that category, it was a lot of themes of essay. I saw that a lot of like the sexual steamy scenes that, you know, the viewers were supposed to get gratification from in dark romance titles were like essay and stuff like that. And I think sexualizing essay and getting gratification from essay, even if it's through reading a book, I just think that that's wrong. You're sexualizing essay, which devalues how horrible of a thing sexual assault is. And that was my point in the video. But yeah, that's the discourse we're talking about right now. In my opinion, it kind of painted me, or it felt like it painted me in a bad light. I'm not saying that was like purposeful. I like made the video and like intentionally painted me in the worst light possible. In the way she talked about me or like responded to the video, she was kind of painting me as like a hypocritical, typical, like a right-wing male. None of which is true at all. This is not a safe space for people to be sexist and homophobic and be like, fuck that bitch FunkyFrogBait, feminist, lesbian. No, I'm a leftist. If you are a right-winger, just leave the video if you're gonna be like that, okay? Please don't do that shit. You make me look worse in my comments. I'm a leftist, all right? Fuck out of here. I also want to get out of the way the fact that I'm a minor. I publicly stated in the two videos I posted right after that one that were on the exact same topic and both equally had more views in that video that I'm a minor. I stated, like, I'm 16, I'm a minor. I'll put those clips up there right now if you guys want to see those. Hundreds of 30-plus-year-old people making wild accusations against a 16-year-old on TikTok does not defend your case. I am 16, and I make that very clear. Let that sit by itself for a second. I am 16. And I'm very publicly a minor. If she ever, like, DM'd me and asked real quick for, like, permission, or if I was a minor or whatever, I mean, I would tell her. I'm public about it in all my videos, and so felt a little bit weird that she was putting me, a minor, out on YouTube in front of millions of people and painted me and like accompanied me along with, you know, a group of like sad incel white men, which also felt a little bit weird because in those two videos I clarified my position about things and said like I'm a leftist and I'm a feminist and shit like that. Millennial white women will really label anyone a misogynist. I own nearly a dozen feminist literature books, and I have spent the better part of 2 years on this app advocating for women's rights. I'm mentioning that because it really felt like she could have gone on my page easily and found those two videos because they were direct follow-ups, each of which were way more popular than the original video I posted that she reacted to. Again, they were on the exact same topic, and in those videos I expressed that I was, one, a minor. I went more in depth on how I thought about the BookTok situation and my genuine feelings about it that were less exaggeratory than the original video I posted on it. And what I said in those two videos directly contradicts the group that she puts me in with in the video. The people she kind of groups me in with are, you know, sad incel right-wing men who are mad at women. And in those two videos, I expressed directly against that. I said I was a leftist, I was a feminist. I went over way more in depth on my opinion on BookTok and the actual problems I had with the community. It was just way more in depth. And again, both those videos had like millions of views. The original video only had like 300 or 400K. I'm just pointing out how absolutely open and available I was about my opinion on it and my age. And I'm not bringing that up to be like, oh, she saw those videos and chose not to add them in. I'm bringing that up to show how little research she did into me, into the person she is responding to in her YouTube video. Again, no hate to her, but it felt like she didn't do much research into me as a person and who I was. She just saw the video, automatically just reacted to it, threw it in the YouTube video. It was what it was. Didn't look in any further. Which is obviously a problem because I am a minor and she ended up grouping me with people who I don't agree with, who I'm not a part of. So That's what I'm just trying to get through in this section. We're going to get to the reaction portion where I actually look at it right now. Overall, I'm just going to feel like my points were misrepresented. I was painted kind of weirdly in the video. I thought it was a little weird that she responded to a very public minor online. And I didn't really like the kind of men that she grouped me with and the point she made without like DMing me at all or like being like, hey, do you believe this? Because she was saying some stuff that would have showed hypocrisy that I never said. Because she said a lot of things that I don't believe, but she kind of acted like I did believe.
This subgenre has received especially intense scrutiny over this past year as certain popular dark romance titles have been noticed by people outside of their usual reader base.
At least once a week, some book from BookTok goes crazy viral and blows up, causing the average person to be exposed to it and read it and start calling out all the crazy stuff happening in it. If a BookToker describes a book as a dark romance, immediate red flag. Maybe we just gotta eradicate this whole thing. Break it up, start from scratch.
I have to point out that men...
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. I'm not trying to cut in or interrupt their points, but like, I just found it kind of funny how she saw my video with my personal take on things. She was like, you know, men do this thing. I don't know why I find that kind of funny. Again, not trying to be a dick or anything. I find it a little bit funny. I find it a tad humorous.
Out that men have an extensive history of prominently and often very poorly depicting sexual violence against women, with the audience's perspective often being that of the voyeur or even the perpetrator.
I completely agree. Yes, men absolutely have a history of poorly depicting sexual violence. 100% agree with you. I think that shit's weird too. I also think it's weird when women have books about it where they poorly depict it in dark romance. They kind of write it in like weird sexual circumstances for, you know, purposes of gratification, should we call it.
It just seems strange to me that when women take ownership of these stories, willingly project onto the victim in these situations for their own gratification, that we suddenly have a video essay-worthy crisis on our hands. It is absolutely understandable to find dark romance upsetting. That is a very normal reaction. But I'm sure it's also upsetting for people whose loved ones have been murdered to see the popularity of slasher films. I'm sure it's also upsetting for veterans with PTSD to watch the same mediocre military simulators pumped out year over year. We seem to have largely come to the consensus that playing COD or watching a horror movie doesn't make you a serial killer. We insist that male directors stripping down 20-something-year-old actresses to simulate acts of brutality on them for TV are just in the business of realistic storytelling. But when it comes to dark romance, we suddenly are unable to trust adult women to distinguish between reality and fiction. This is despite the fact—
No? My issue was never that there was an issue with women like separating reality from fiction or something like that. I don't know what she's yapping about right now. Never once did I say that I had like a problem with women depicting sexual assault in storytelling in its entirety. Of course women can depict that. That's fine. I don't like it when it's poorly depicted and the idea of sexual assault is sexualized. I don't like it when essay is sexualized and made to be like gratifying in the book. How do I put it? I don't like it when essay is poorly represented or made to be like sexual and gratifying for the reader of the book or the viewer watching it. That's weird. Why are you sexualizing and making such a horrible and terrible act a thing that you're like attracted to, a thing that's like the steamy part of the book that people are enthralled by and they are attracted to? This is what I mean when I say BookTok gooner. People who goon to that kind of thing, who are attracted to that kind of thing. Hopefully you get what I mean though. My problem isn't like, oh, women can't distinguish reality from fiction or whatever. I don't like the idea of people who like get off to the idea of essay and books that have essay and they sexualize it and make it look like it's not the horrible and crazy act that it is. That was always my point. I've said that multiple times in my 2 other videos about that. Each of them are more popular than this one. I have to bring that up again. All because I made a video calling out the gooners on BookTok. The BookTokers who only read books about super freaky huge age gaps, borderline essay, and straight BDSM. And I said that BookTok as a whole needs to do better because other BookTokers never call out the weirdos in their community. All because I called out the weirdos on BookTok who are into relationships that have BDSM, borderline essay, or really huge age gaps. She could have DM'd me and been like, hey, do you believe these things? Like, can you clarify your points real quick? Because she pointed me out to be like this like hypocritical, you know, right-wing incel guy who's okay with essay being poorly represented by men, but isn't okay with it being poorly represented by women. I don't like either, okay? I don't know why we're doing this right now. This is what I mean when I say I feel like I was kind of painted in a worse light and kind of painted to be like a hypocrite when she never DM'd me and asked my opinions about it. And if she did, I would have told her, like, yeah, I don't like essay when it's poorly written and made to be sexually gratifying for the viewer and is downplayed from the horrific event it actually is. I know she's not necessarily directly like responding to my video, responding to me. She's moreover like addressing like men in the situation overall, but her example for the men she's talking about is me in my video, and I don't believe the things that she's debunking me of apparently thinking. Not receiving any DMs about this is also kind of a weird thing. He kind of misrepresented and painted me in a weird light, grouped me with the wrong people who I do not associate with. I don't think she did any of this intentionally. I don't think she was malicious about it. I highly doubt that. Probably just saw my video and responded to it and didn't do any like research on me or my other videos on her part at all and didn't look into it. Doesn't mean she doesn't carry any blame here. She definitely should have looked into at least a little bit. If Miss FunkyFrogBait herself sees this video, no offense to you at all. I think you're pretty cool. I'm still sub to your YouTube channel. I'm not offended. But I just wanted to come out and kind of clarify, like, hey, I'm not like that. I don't believe that shit. I'm not that kind of person. I just want to come out and say that and clarify things more clearly because she did not do me justice in her video. All right, I'm Hydra Man. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.